Ivy Park, Beyonce's line, and Adidas collaborated on a collection of really cute fitness gear, sneakers, jackets with detachable sleeves. I really liked the maroon and orange color combination, but I wanted a bag they didn't have. So I decided to create one. This is a Thrift Flip Accessories Edition. I've been doing a lot of thrifting lately and will be posting some of my completed projects here on the channel. If you don't know about thrifting, it's a fancy term for buying used or secondhand items. Repurposing is another term that you might have heard. To me, it means the same thing, taking something existing and giving it new life. My goal was to do both. During one of my thrifting shopping trips, I found this puffer vest and decided it would be the perfect base for this project. So I put in a little magic and loaded on some details. A few things about this video. It's not exactly a tutorial where I walk you through step by step like I normally do. It's more of a maker's video where you can follow along as I show you what I had to do to pull this off. Here's what to expect. We will do a little shopping, then I'm going to talk about why I chose this particular vest, and then I'm going to share with you some trims and details that I purchased, and then cover the construction. How I did the lettering, I will cover in a separate video, so make sure you stay tuned for that. And as always, a list of all the tools and supplies that I use can be found down below in the description box. Are you ready? I'm ready. All right, so let's get into it. Thrift Flip Puffer Vest Transformation into Ivy Park Gym Bag. Okay, so let's talk about what I picked up. I decided on a vest instead of a jacket because I knew I didn't have any use for the sleeves. Even though it's quilted, it doesn't really have a lot of construction and extra details. There were a few stains on the jacket, but with a little cleaning, I was able to get the most noticeable ones out. The front zipper pockets, and inside hidden zipper, all of those were in good shape and would not have to be replaced. Look, you see here where it says goose down? Oh boy, this might be trouble, and I'll show you why later. The hood didn't look that hard to remove and should be fairly easy to cut off. And the jacket came with elastic and toggles in the hood and at the waist. This was an added bonus, so all I had to do was swap things out. The armholes were finished, so nothing special to do there, and the Eddie Bauer logo wasn't too large, and I could make a patch to cover that. In terms of trims, I wasn't sure exactly what direction I wanted to go in, so while out shopping, I bought a little bit of everything. Surprisingly, I found some nylon webbing that matched the jacket perfectly. I wanted to incorporate as much orange as possible, so I mainly focused on looking for details in that color. Elastic cording in 2 colors, toggles, I bought a couple different kinds, seam binding, and I picked up a package of grommets that came in assorted colors. Construction. To understand where I'm going with this, I'm going to flip the vest upside down. The waist becomes the top edge of the bag, the armholes will form the corner gussets, and the chest level will become the bottom. Here's a diagram to show you what I mean. Then I cut it into sections. At the time, I thought if I had it in pieces, it would make it easier to work with. However, in retrospect, I wish I had just removed the hood. I could have left the sides alone, and that would have minimized the amount of feathers I had flying everywhere. Next, I worked on the logos and the branding since I needed to sew those on while the sections were relatively flat. And again, I will cover this in a separate video. Next, I sewed on the straps. The first thing is to figure out how long to make them. I wanted mine so that the straps could fit over my shoulder easily, and I took into account that I might be wearing a thick coat or a sweater or even a sweatshirt, and then I inserted the unfinished edges into the bottom seam. Next, I decided to attach the straps in 3 places, along the top edge, midway, and then again near the bottom. Here's another place where I wish I would have paid just a little bit more attention. By sewing through all layers, I ended up sewing through the waist zipper pockets slightly. First, remove the existing elastic cording. To put in the new cording, you will have to rip out a few of the stitches so that you can insert it. This is a good time to add your own grommets. Although the vest has them, you'll need a few on the outside so the cording is accessible and it can function as a drawstring. To run the elastic cord through the tunnel, attach a safety pin and push it through. Finish off the ends with plastic toggles. Getting the seam binding on took a few steps. I used a basting stitch to hold the sections together. There was a lot going on. The nylon lining was shifting and feathers were flying everywhere. Second, I sewed the seam binding to one side of the section, then folded it and encased the seam inside the seam binding, and then sewed a second time with a top stitch. Join the fronts and the backs at the center bottom. The two sides were not exactly the same width, so I had to ease them together slightly at the bottom, and it worked out okay and is not very noticeable. This is a time where I really wished I had an overlock or a serger machine. It would have made this way simpler. Repeat the same process and sew the sides. Next, we want to form the gusset at the bottom and close up the corners. You do this by sewing the armholes together in a T shape. The gussets as wide as the armholes would allow. Recap. If you get a vest with feathers, use maximum restraint when cutting and letting loose the goose. I had stuffing flying everywhere. Number 2, edge finish technique. Binding the edges requires an additional step, but it's manageable. It's one of the times where I wish I had access to a serger or overlock machine. Number 3, strap placement. I didn't notice that I'd reduced some of the functionality of the pocket by sewing through all layers in 3 places. Number 4, yes, the pocket zipper is upside down and it's slightly odd, but it's okay because I would not want to spend time ripping out the zippers just to put them back in again. As long as the pockets zip closed, whatever is in it will stay secure. Other than that, I love how it turned out. I hope this maker video inspires you to make your own puffer gym bag. If you want to help me out, please give this video a thumbs up. That ranks it higher with YouTube and they will share it with more people. As always, thank you for watching. I wish you bag success and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.